How's it going, folks? Welcome to another fun at-home table read. Tonight, we're jumping into, I think, the only Disney sequel direct-to-video that I actually enjoy. I heard someone today say Lion King 1.5. Haven't seen it, so that one might be fun. I just don't know. But I'm really excited to do this one. We're doing Aladdin and the King of Thieves. Childhood favorite. Let's just jump into introing everybody.
I'm Angie, and I'm doing action description.
I'm Erik. I'll be Aladdin.
Hi, I'm Anne, and I will be a Jasmine and Cassim.
Loving the name there, also realizing that you're a Freudian situation. Yeah. I'm Logan. I'm going to be Genie.
And I'm Travis, and I'll be Saluk.
Awesome. Well, Angie, take us away.
Aladdin and the King of Thieves, written by Mark McCorkle and Robert Shuley, transcribed by the Keeper of the Lamp. Exterior Agrabah, midday. Footsteps trudge across the desert sands of Agrabah. This cloaked figure steps over a ridge and sees a great castle in the distance. The cloaked man is flanked on both sides by several camels with large baskets tied to their sides. One of the baskets opens reveals one of the 40 thieves hidden inside. The cloaked man pushes the lid back down, hiding him. The line of camels joins a long procession of people walking into the city. Razoul, angry at his post, stands watch. Exterior Agrabah city gates moments later. An elephant walks through the gates, followed by the camels. A short hermit comes hobbling up to Razoul, carrying a large sack on his back.
Oh, in all my years, never have I seen the streets so full of hustle and bustle and assorted commotion.
Our princess is to wed.
Oh, wonderful. And who's the lucky prince?
Not a prince at all, just a no-account street rat.
No way!
The hermit grabs Razoul and transforms into the Genie, still big and blue. He tosses the sack airborne, and it lands on Razoul. Genie grabs Razoul's nose and lifts him so they are face to face.
Try it again, phonetically. It's Aladdin!
Genie launches a batch of sparks into the sky. The sparks burst and leave behind a meek sign reading, Aladdin. The neon of the lights flickers out and dies out.
Oh, some of you don't believe.
Genie snaps his fingers, and the meek sign is replaced with a grand one reading, Aladdin and the King of Thieves. Genie, as Tinkerbell, flies past the sign.
In color!
Exterior Agrabah moments later. Everyone is celebrating.
There's a party here in Agrabah. There's excitement in the air. People pouring in from near and far. Because Jasmine and Aladdin are gonna have a wedding.
Genie flies among the citizens of Agrabah.
There's a party here in Agrabah. Everybody will be there. So if you're a pauper or a shah, do something with your hair.
Genie pops up and starts talking to some of the concubines in their tower.
You mustn't wear an outfit that's naughty. A turban that's unraveling just won't do. No earrings that are tasteless or gaudy. You're gonna look gorgeous when I get through.
Genie starts painting a landscape of the city.
There's a party here in Agrabah, so I'm gonna paint the town. If you want to see what colors are, follow me around.
Genie flies away on his painting board. The city begins to sing.
Aladdin's getting married, and it's gonna be the wedding of the century.
They all hold up newspapers, which read, Al loves jazz.
My buddy's getting married and is gonna see just how much I can do.
Genie covers the buildings with flowers and greenery. Genie continues singing, impressions and magic flying everywhere.
You've heard of your safari bar mitzvahs. You open to a luau or sweet 16. Well, none of them compare to what this is.
Genie opens up a close to present a dish, which reveals Genie as a pig.
The food will be disgusting. By evening, you'll be busting.
The pig then explodes. A small harem walks through the street. There's a party here in Agrabah, and it's got us all aglow. Genie pops up, looking like Rocky.
If a street rat could have come so far, maybe I could do it.
Genie then pops up as Don King.
I'm sure there's nothing to it.
On one of the upper balconies, a bitch sings.
There's a party here in Agrabah that we're not sure that will go. For although the bride is lying down, the groom is awfully low.
Genie pushes the bitch off the balcony. Exterior Agrabah castle gates, moments later. Genie stands with sports commentator Gene Ockerlund.
And now we take you to the palace, where everyone has celebrated all night long.
Genie walks behind Genie wearing a Jafar mask. Then he jumps in front of the camera.
Is that Jafar and all his malice? Everybody's happy!
Genie pushes Genie out of the way.
What could possibly go wrong?
Exterior Agrabah, moments later. The 40 thieves poke their heads from the camel hiding spots.
There's a party here in
Agrabah. We're blind.
Cassim, their leader, leans up to one of the men.
While we're munching on caviar, creating small disturbance, I'll sneak up from behind.
Interior palace entrance, same time. Iago stands on a pile of gold, taking wedding gifts from the guests.
There's a party here in Agrabah, and there's loot pouring in. I like this wedding stuff so far. Maybe if I'm pleasant, I'll get to keep it as a present.
Genie flies around, working his last-minute magic.
We've ordered just a few tasteful flowers.
A truck full of flowers buries Genie and the Sultan.
And valets who will carefully park for you.
Genie backs up a large elephant and parks it between several camels. Genie runs through the palace halls.
The bridesmaids have been dressing for hours!
Genie looks at the bridesmaids, looking like a lovely grandmother.
Girls, you just look lovely and so grown up too.
Genie pushes open the large double doors and enters wearing a tuxedo. He walks down the aisle, looking at all the guests.
There's a party here in Agrabah. Guests are filling up the room. But there's something missing. Yes! Aha!
Sultan looks around.
Where's the groom?
Interior Aladdin's old house, same time. Aladdin, looking rather sad for such a happy day, ducks under a large wooden beam as he looks through where he used to call home. Abu, still a monkey, looks on. Aladdin opens a panel in the floor and pulls out a small box. He blows the dust off of it. Even Abu doesn't know why they are there. Suddenly, Genie's large eye peeks through the hole in the wall.
Hello?
Abu freaks out and runs to Aladdin.
Somebody's gonna be late for his own wedding!
Hold on, Genie. There's something I need.
I gotcha.
Genie winks and disappears, reappearing as a stripper jumping out of a cake. Abu and Carpet nurse drinks.
It's a bachelor party, pig boy!
Genie snatches the drink out of Carpet's tassels.
None for you. You're the designated flyer.
No, this is for the wedding.
Aladdin opens the box to reveal a short, decorative blade.
Well, it's a nice dagger. Interesting nuptial accessory. It's a bit sharp.
Belonged to my father.
Genie shifts back to normal.
Your father? You never said a word about your father.
Genie starts panicking.
Let the caterer know. Chicken or sea bass?
He's not coming to the wedding. He died a long time ago.
Sorry.
It's okay. I never knew him. Maybe if I did, I'd feel ready for this.
Genie sees Aladdin's face and transforms into a large pair of slippers.
Al, are you getting cold feet?
No, Genie, it's just that I've always been a street rat, stealing what I need to survive, running from the guards, running my life alone, living my life alone. I'm taking a big step today into the new world.
Genie is now hosting a radio show.
Today's topic, fears of the future family man. Al from Agrabah. Share with us.
I never had a father to show me how to raise a family.
No role model. Dig a little deeper.
What do I know about families, Genie? What if I'm no good at it? If my father were here...
Al, little buddy, if your father were here, he'd be as proud of you as I am.
Just wish he could see this.
Aladdin looks out of the wall hole at the view of the palace.
There's a party here in Agrabah, and the party's all for me. Just look, you guys, at where we are, and how our dreams have come to be.
Interior palace, same time. Jasmine, oddly animated with barely a nose, moves through the room in her wedding dress.
There's a party here in Agrabah, and I can't believe it's true. After all this waiting, here we are. We finally get to say, I do.
Interior Aladdin's old house, intercut.
I never ever had a real family.
I never ever had a real true friend.
Someone who could just understand me.
Iago flies up to Aladdin.
Hey, come on, Aladdin. This must have got to end.
There's a party here in Agrabah, and it's starting right away. Let's get you dressed, because you're the star!
Genie snaps his fingers and Aladdin's clothes change into princely robes.
Hey, come on, it's your wedding day!
Genie and Aladdin link arms and walk off the roof, joined by Abu and Iago. Before landing safely on carpet, they fly to the palace.
Aladdin's getting married, and it's going to be
the wedding of the century.
Amazing how Aladdin could have come so far.
They're finally getting married!
They're finally getting married.
They're finally
getting married.
Look at all these presents.
We're finally getting married.
I'm finally getting married?
They're finally getting married at the party!
Aladdin lands on the altar, ready for the ceremony.
There's a
Party here in Agrabah.
As the song finishes, Genie can't stop dancing.
There's a party going on now! It's a party! It's a party! Help me! I can't stop myself! Somebody rub the lamp! Somebody rub the lamp! You know I feel it!
Genie looks around and notices he's the only one still partying.
That's enough.
Genie awkwardly backs away. Exterior palace. Cassim walks the camels through the gates and into the stable. A pair of golden claws cut their way out of the basket. As the basket falls away, there stands Saluk, a truly gray motherfucker. Saluk dusts himself off and stands next to Cassim.
Oh, I wanted improv for that. Why do you walk in the open while I suffocate like an animal?
Someone has to keep a cool head, Saluk.
Someone will have no head if there's another wild goose chase.
The Oracle is a real thing. This time, I'm sure.
Exterior palace red carpet moments later. Genie walks among the crowd, entertaining himself.
Hello, and welcome to Lifestyles of the Rich and Magical. That's right, we're taking you to the marriage of the millennium. And who's this coming in the lovely stretch camel?
A large camel walks up and takes out step a lovely couple.
It's Cleopatra and Caesar. Oh, and they're bringing a salad. How wonderful.
Caesar and Cleopatra are being followed by a massive salad and an even bigger pepper grinder. Genie looks elsewhere.
Oh, look, there's Osiris. Osiris! Oh, Osiris, can we have a word with you?
Osiris, the legit bird-headed god, turns to Genie and screeches.
Oh, no, the crowd is parting. Who's coming? It's Moses!
The crowd parts, revealing Genie as Moses. After a beat, Genie stands with a large Viking man, also played by Genie.
And your name is? I'm Thor. You're Thor? Well, it hurts.
Genie turns back to his non-existent camera.
Once again, this whole broadcast has been brought to you by sand. It's everywhere. Get used to it.
Interior palace treasure room moments later. Iago sits on the gold, admiring his spoils.
I can see fine from back here. Look, there's one thing I get sentimental about, and I'm sitting on it.
Abu picks up Iago and looks under his butt.
The loot, monkey, the loot.
Interior palace wedding altar moments later. Aladdin stands at the altar, ready for his big day. Genie poofs in next to him.
Bad news, Al. The boutonnieres clash with the cummerbunds.
Genie, isn't it a little too late for that?
What? What are you trying to say? Out with it! What?
Genie looks out the crowd.
They're here.
Genie jumps up and shifts into the rabbit from Alice in Wonderland.
Oh no! I'm late for a very important date.
Genie runs down the aisle and through the main doors. Before they can stop swinging, Genie's back, holding a large horn. He blasts a long tone. Abu runs up to Carpet and jumps on his head to get a better view. Genie vanishes and the bridesmaids start down the aisle, dropping flower petals. The Sultan is walked in on his throne. Everyone bows to him. Abu waves excitedly to Sultan, who giggles. Sultan steps off his throne and walks up the aisle to the altar, past Aladdin, who bows. Sultan leans over to him with a smile.
Don't look so solemn, boy. This is a happy day.
Aladdin smiles.
Oh, look, it's a Kodiak moment.
A large bear pops out and roars at Genie. Genie grabs it from its snout and shoves it out of frame.
Get that bear out of here.
Genie winds up his hands and fires off some magic. The spell conjures a flutter of doves carrying a long white carpet. The doves lay the carpet on the aisle all the way to the Sultan's feet. Abu struggles to see over the crowd, but carpet lifts him higher into the air. Everyone turns to look down the aisle. The two large peacocks part, and there stands Jasmine, looking gorgeous.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Jasmine walks down the aisle. She reaches the Sultan, who takes her hand proudly.
Never thought this day would come. Now I'm afraid that it's
Father.
Jasmine leans in and gives Sultan a big hug. Exterior palace, same time. Cassim and Suluk look at the palace.
You distract. Ooh. You distract the guards.
Part of your plan?
Cassim walks over to an elephant and pats its trunk.
A large part.
Cassim bends over and knocks on one of the baskets.
It's time.
The basket breaks open as a beefy thief stands in his full height, chuckling. Another basket is cut apart by large swords, and his sword thief jumps out, ready for battle. A pair of legs burst from another basket, then the arms. Then they pull the lid off, and the kung fu thief karate chops his way out of the basket. Another basket has its lid lifted by a long piece of rope. A thin rope thief comes floating out, holding onto the climbing rope. Interior palace wedding altar moments later. Aladdin and Jasmine step towards each other. Jasmine links her arm with his, and they climb up the stairs to the altar. Genie stands to the side, fighting back tears.
It's all so magical. I'm not going to cry. I'm not.
He loses that battle and sits loudly ugly sobbing. He picks up carpet and uses it to blow his nose before realizing.
Sorry.
Carpet steps back, covered in genie snot. Aladdin and Jasmine reach the top of the altar.
Well, we're here.
Together forever.
Exterior palace. Cassim uses his sword to reflect the sun, signaling his men. Suluk. Suluk smiles and walks toward the elephant, where the beefy thief is having little luck moving it. Suluk pushes Beefy out of the way and flexes his claws.
Let me be the point man.
Suluk then just straight up punches this elephant in the ass with his claws. The elephant, not a fan of Sorry. The elephant, not a fan of butt stuff. Interior palace wedding altar. Moments later, the entire room shakes.
I thought the Earth wasn't supposed to move till the honeymoon.
Oh my word.
The Sultan falls off his feet as elephants can be heard trumpeting. The elephants rush toward the altar, destroying the pillars that stand in their way.
Stampede!
Everyone scatters. Iago does his best to stop the treasure from falling over.
What's going on here?
Another elephant charges right towards Abu. Genie swoops in and picks up the little monkey.
Oh, come here, little monkey boy. You were almost Dumbo Toe Jam.
Genie gasps as the elephants run over carpet, flattening it to the ground.
Oh, they trampled the carpet! That's a little redundant. So this isn't really a bad day for you, really, is it?
Carpet stands and shakes the trampling off. The elephants charge toward Aladdin and Jasmine, who jump off the altar. The whole thing collapses. The guards miss Cassim hiding in one of the chandeliers overhead. It is an attack! People rush for the outside, but are corralled back in by the 40 thieves. Not in this palace! Razoul and his guards draw their swords as the 40 thieves flip around the room, a mix between a piss-poor stunt show and a grand-scale robbery. One of the thieves pins folks to the wall with his daggers as another walks by and calmly picks their pockets. Another pillar comes down as Aladdin pushes Jasmine out of the way.
I think we're going to have a little problem with leaks.
Genie teleports to the ceiling and tries to stretch himself out to cover the whole thing, stopping more rocks from falling. A trio of thieves steal from a woman running by. Another slides between a guest's legs and robs him blind. The kung fu thief is just throwing people around the room, picking their pockets as he does. Two guards come running at him, but with a swift karate chop, he brings a whole pillar down at their feet. Interior palace treasure room moments later. Cassim roots the treasure.
It must be here somewhere.
A gold plate comes spiraling past Cassim's head, barely missing him. Cassim looks up and sees Iago brandishing a candlestick like a baseball bat.
Meet your match, Zorro.
Good birdie. Polly went a little.
Say cracker and I'll let you have it on principle.
Iago swings and misses. Cassim grabs the candlestick and hoists Iago into the air.
You have a lot of spirit and a lot of mouth.
Cassim shoves Iago in a vase and stands, triumphant. Interior palace wedding altar continuous. The thieves rob the shit out of the wedding guests. They even steal some dude's beard. Just rip that shit right off his face. The thief trio flip in and land on each other's shoulders behind Aladdin. Aladdin grabs a stick and tries to hit them, but they only continue to evade. Beefy stands and faces Razoul. Razoul charges, but Beefy just belly bumps him away. Saluk stands against two of the palace guards. They raise their swords and he slashes at them multiple times, cutting their bodies to ribbons because this dude is a Wolverine wannabe. Oh wait, this movie's rated G, so all he does is cut their clothes apart. The guards cover their junk in shame.
They fight like demons.
Where's the demons? These are the 40 thieves!
Really? I get 39.
Aladdin looks past the charging elephants and sees Cassim rummaging through his wedding treasure.
40.
Aladdin pulls off his overrobe, ready to kick some ass. Interior palace treasure room continuous. Cassim moves treasure aside.
Where is it? At last.
Cassim picks up a small scepter topped with a green gem. He holds it up for a moment before being yanked back, thrown to the floor. Aladdin stands, holding the scepter.
Can I see your invitation?
Stay out of my way, boy, and you won't get hurt.
Cassim grabs a golden cat statue and throws that at Aladdin. Aladdin hits the ground and Cassim is on him. Aladdin swings the scepter, but Cassim catches his hand.
Fool! You don't stand a chance against the king of thieves.
When I get up, I'll bow to you.
Aladdin kicks Cassim off of him. Interior palace wedding altar continuous. One of the 40 thieves feels a tap on his shoulder. He turns and is punched square in the face by Jasmine.
That was for ruining my wedding.
More of the thieves run for a moment before realizing they've come to a stop on Carpet. Carpet flies out from underneath them, toppling them to the floor. Carpet lands on top of them and celebrates silently. Interior palace treasure room continuous. Aladdin and Cassim fight over the scepter. Interior palace wedding altar continuous. Abu holds up a massive sword against a few of the thieves. They all draw their weapons. Abu throws the sword up to the rope of the chandelier, bring it crashing down on the thieves' heads. Above, Genie still strains to hold the ceiling, but after a moment he realizes the only roof still standing is the stuff directly above where he just was.
Guess there's really no point to this now.
Genie poofs away. 3 of the thieves run away with bags of treasure. Genie appears in front of them, gigantic. The kung fu thief thinks he can karate chop a magical being. The dagger thief draws a few blades and Beefy is ready to punch. Genie looks at you, the audience, before turning into a whole platoon of ninjas, all ready to kill the shit out of the 40 thieves. Right, a Disney movie. I mean, not kill them with all of these sharp stabbing weapons. The thieves turn and run in fear. Genie turns back to normal and turns, scooping up one of the elephants. He cocks the elephant's trunk like a gun.
Freeze, sandbags! Don't make me use the other end!
He uses the elephant to blow away several of the thieves. The elephant runs out of air and goes limp. Genie gingerly sets it down. Genie then starts shooting magical bolts of energy into the asses of the thieves. After a beat, he turns into Forrest Gump.
Mom always said magic is as magic does.
Cassim said nothing about facing the powers of a genie. Get the others out of here. We'll leave the king to his plan.
Interior palace treasure room continuous. Aladdin tackles Cassim. In their struggle, the vase holding Iago flies against the wall and shatters, freeing the bird. Suddenly, another elephant charges into the room. Cassim and Aladdin split, Aladdin getting the scepter. The elephant continues charging right through the wall and out the front. Aladdin looks through the hole in the wall before turning back and realizing he's alone in the treasure room.
Where's the King of Thieves?
Exterior palace red carpet continuous. Cassim jumps up from the side of the elephants and lands, looking back at the palace.
I'll see you again, boy.
Interior palace wedding altar, moments later. Genie looks around as the entire palace wall collapses.
This is not my fault. This was not built to code.
The rest of the room collapses. The Sultan walks in, Iago on his shoulder.
Good luck getting back the catering deposit. Oh my!
Fear not, O father of the bride. We can rebuild.
Genie appears as a construction worker.
Oh, please do. We can't have a wedding without a pavilion.
All right, a wedding pavilion it is, my man.
Genie zaps construction gear onto Carpet, Abu, and Iago.
Hey, I want to see some resumes on these guys. Don't want the one with the beak near any power tools.
Yes, Genie. Whatever it takes.
Sultan turns.
I'm sorry about all this, Jasmine.
But she's gone.
Daughter.
Interior palace treasure room, moments later. Jasmine looks over the wrecked treasure room.
What were they after? The gifts?
Not all the gifts. This is what the King of Thieves wanted.
Aladdin holds up a scepter. Iago lands on top.
With all the other great stuff, why go for this thing?
The scepter glows bright. Your question is mine to answer. The scepter floats across the room. A large woman cloaked in light emerges from the scepter. The King of Thieves sought my sight to find the ultimate treasure.
Did someone say treasure?
Genie?
Oh, looks like an oracle.
I see all that has been and all that will be.
Uh-oh. Definitely an oracle. Tells the future. Uh-oh.
Genie turns back to Jasmine.
Girlfriend, where were you registered?
Okay, you know all, so tell all. Where is the treasure? You know the ultimate one.
You already have asked your one question.
You mean before that wasn't a question? That was thinking about out loud.
Genie grabs Iago from out of the oracle's face.
Very loud.
Aladdin, we can learn anything about our lives, our future.
You have but to ask.
I know what my future is. My future is you. But my past is a blank. My mother died when I was just a kid, and I never even knew my father. I have no idea where I come from.
Your question is your choice, but remember the rule of one. Choose carefully.
Oh, sure. She warns him about the one question thing.
Iago paces, annoying Carpet until it winds up and kicks Iago.
Hey!
I don't think you can help me. My past isn't just one question. It's a million questions.
Ah, but mere questions about your past can be answered by your father.
My father?
The oracle nods and waves her arms. An image of Aladdin's father appears in her stomach, like the Silver Surfer in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Oh, Logan for the win. My father is alive?
And now we go to a commercial break. I don't really know. The movie fades to black and black here as if it's a commercial. Moving on. Exterior Aladdin's old house night. Aladdin sits up in the tower while Abu and Carpet pace around outside.
Abu, where's Aladdin?
Abu gestures up to the tower.
How long has he been up there?
Interior Aladdin's old house, moments later. Aladdin holds his father's dagger and looks over the city.
Aladdin?
Jasmine walks into the room.
Are you all right? What's wrong?
I always wanted to know about my father, but just now I'm not so sure. What kind of man leaves his son? Like, did he even care? Maybe. I don't want to know.
Yes, you do.
How can you be so sure?
Because I already know him. Because I know you. You showed me the world when I was all locked up inside. You reached out your hand and took me on a magic carpet ride.
Jasmine takes his hand and they step off onto carpet, flying into the night.
One look at your smile, and I could see the light shining everywhere. People like you don't come out of thin air.
Aladdin hangs his head.
Oh, Jasmine. You don't understand. There's so much that you don't see. Just think if you can what growing up had to be like for me.
Aladdin flashes back, seeing all of the other kids running to their dads at the end of the day.
Your father's a man who taught you who you are. Mine was never there. So how can you say I don't come out of thin air?
Exterior palace balcony, moments later.
There's so much I want to know.
You've got you've got the chance to learn.
If it means I'd have to go,
I'll be right here when you return. Our wedding can wait.
I love you.
I think it's worth a small delay.
Maybe you're right.
And won't it be great to have your father see our wedding day?
I've waited so long to learn the
Too
truth.
late. And
And
now
now at least we can
we can
finally
say
say
your father is really there.
there's so much that we might share.
And you'll finally learn you don't
Don't
come
come out of thin air.
They hold the scepter into the air and it floats away, glowing bright. The oracle emerges. Have you chosen your question?
I have.
Then ask.
Where is my father?
Follow the trail of the 40 thieves. Your father is trapped within their world.
The 40 thieves? Is he hurt? How long has he been their prisoner?
Dude, how many times does she have to mention the one question thing? I'm sorry, I can only answer one question. See? There she goes again. She retreats into the scepter and floats back to Aladdin.
It's up to me.
Take as long as you need.
I'll be back in time for our wedding. I promise.
Exterior Agrabah, desert, night. Aladdin flies across the night on carpet with Abu and Iago.
I should have stayed with Genie. Manual labor beats danger any day.
Shh.
Abu chitters as they fly. They fly along the floor of the canyon.
Good. The trail's still fresh.
Aladdin spots a trail of horse tracks. He looks up and sees the tail end of the 40 thieves racing through the night.
Yeah.
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 Carpet speeds up to match pace.
Definitely should have stayed with the Genie.
Aladdin rounds a corner and Carpet screeches to a halt, nearly running into the backside of one of the 40 thieves. The thieves stand at the edge of the large river.
Shh.
Carpet flies back and out of sight.
Whew. Well, they have nowhere to go. We got them trapped?
There are 40 thieves. We are you, a rug, a monkey, and me. Wait, don't count me.
Aladdin peeks out from behind one of the rocks and looks at the stationary thieves.
They're just standing there.
Cassim moves to the front of the crowd and steadies his horse.
Open sesame.
The rock face on the other side of the river rumbles. The water bubbles and glows with a sort of magical energy. The river steams and roars as it is suddenly cleaved in half, the water parting in a perfect path to the rock face. The rock face is now cleaved open, the path made clear.
Hiya!
The 40 thieves race across the dried riverbed.
Let's move.
Carpet takes off toward the secret opening. The river starts collapsing in behind them as they race towards the rocks.
Hang on.
Iago screams as they race faster. Interior 40 thieves lair moments later. Aladdin comes crashing through the right as the wall shuts behind him. Carpet crashes onto a rock, followed shortly by Aladdin and Abu. Aladdin regains his wits and looks around. He gasps. They are inside the lair of the 40 thieves. Carpet taps Aladdin on the shoulder.
I know, Carpet. It's incredible.
Carpet pulls Aladdin and turns him around.
What?
Carpet points to the former hole in the wall. Iago stands next to the wall, covering his eyes.
How bad is it?
His tail feathers are caught in the wall. Abu steps up and surveys the scene. Abu spits on his hands and grabs Iago, yanking him free.
Yow!
But his tail feathers stay behind. Iago looks back at his newly naked behind.
This is attractive.
He yanks the feathers from the wall and shoves them back in place. Aladdin shakes his head.
Come on.
They sneak deeper into the hideout. Abu and Iago accidentally back into each other.
Hey!
They tumble and fall down a small rock and land in a large puddle.
You want to not hold up traffic? I want to get in, get out, and go home. Actually, I wouldn't mind skipping right to the go home.
Aladdin and his new crew find a small ledge overlooking the 40 thieves.
We could have had all the loot at the wedding, but we followed the king's plan. This is what we've had to show for our trouble in Agrabah.
Saluk gestures to an empty table before smashing it.
Nothing. Yeah, I agree.
This ought to be good.
Luke is truly ticked.
Saluk crosses the crowd to Cassim.
Your time draws to a close, Cassim.
Cassim? My father.
Okay, but real talk for a second. How does Aladdin know his dad's name? Because the Oracle sure as shit didn't say it, and Cassim left when Aladdin was like 4. I sure as hell didn't know my dad's actual name at 4, so how does he know that Cassim is his dad's name?
If you're talking about spilling my blood, well, I just don't see that happening.
So Luke flexes his broke-ass Wolverine claws.
Then let me open your eyes.
Before he can strike, Aladdin tackles Saluk to the ground, struggling to hold Saluk's claw hand down.
Run! I got him!
Cassim looks confused. Who is this kid?
I'm Aladdin! You're my father!
Cassim gasps.
His father?
Suluk rolls over, pinning Aladdin down. As they roll, Aladdin's dagger falls from his cloak. Cassim eyes the blade on the ground.
I don't know about your father, boy, but I'll send you to meet your other ancestors.
Before Suluk can strike, Cassim stops his hand.
Let him go. The boy is my son.
Cassim holds up the dagger.
I gave this dagger to my wife years ago. I told her to give it to our newborn son, Aladdin.
It's true?
The boy is the son of the king of thieves?
Aladdin struggles to his feet.
You're the king of thieves?
Like it or not, boy, we are blood.
Abu and Iago are shocked.
Look at you. I never thought to see you again. Has it been so long?
Blood or mud, the boy is an intruder, and we have rules about intruders.
Suluk is right.
He knows our secrets.
I hate intruders.
Hey, me too! He has found our secret lair. He has seen too much. He must die.
The 40 thieves murmur in agreement.
Yes! They must all die.
Iago struggles free from the kung fu grips.
Die? He's your son! I'm his friend. Cast a vote for mercy here. Yes, Cassim, mercy would be so like you, soft and weak.
The 40 thieves all murmur at this idea.
Maybe Suluk should be king.
Cassim thinks for a moment.
Kill him.
The 40 thieves cheer.
No!
Aladdin is shocked. Suluk smirks as he raises his claw to strike.
Or the boy could. Yes, the boy could. No.
What? What? The boy could what?
Wait!
Nothing. Probably a bad idea.
Well, let's hear it.
Well, it seems to me that. Oh, never mind.
What?
Cassim paces before suddenly having an idea.
The boy could face the challenge.
That's right, the challenge.
That's that. My son shall face the challenge.
And I shall be the one to test him.
Yeah!
A test? Huh? That's not so bad. Maybe it'll be multiple choice.
Lightning and thunder clasps as we cut to. Exterior mountaintop, minutes later. The 40 thieves reach the mountain summit carrying Abu and Iago in a small cage. Abu chitters nervously.
Escape, not likely. Our ride home is grounded.
Iago gestures to Carpet, who is being sat on by Beefy.
And, ow, well, it's been nice knowing him.
Aladdin leans in to Cassim.
What's going on, Dad?
The challenge is simple enough. Only one man survives.
Suluk stands menacingly in the storm, looking like a villain from the Rocky movies.
You're my son. You will be that man. Knock him dead, kid. Seriously.
A thief lifts a large sword and brings it to the ground, signaling the start of the challenge. Suluk charges Aladdin, slashing wildly. Aladdin is knocked aside, still managing to miss the blades. Cassim looks worried as Suluk gestures for Aladdin to bring it on. The thieves throw Aladdin back into the fight. Suluk misses with a wild swing and Aladdin ducks to sweep his legs out from underneath him. Aladdin dodges another blow and kicks Suluk straight in the gut. Aladdin is barely staying out of the way of Suluk's claws, and all of his returning blows barely seem to be making a dent. With a quick cut, Suluk connects and cuts open Aladdin's arm. Suluk brings his blade down again, this time blocked by Aladdin's dagger. Suluk advances, forcing Aladdin back into a flaming bowl, knocking it to the ground. Aladdin and Suluk fight before Suluk picks up Aladdin over his head.
No!
Suluk tosses Aladdin over the side. Aladdin digs the blade into a rock wall, slowing his fall. Aladdin drops into a small ledge and catches his breath. But after a moment, he feels gravel falling on his head and sees Saluk using his own claws to slowly descend after him. Saluk lands on the edge and flexes his claws. He advances on Aladdin. Aladdin jumps up, grabbing his dagger still embedded into the wall, and uses it to swing forward, kicking Saluk in the jaw. Saluk staggers back and loses his footing, falling off the cliff. Aladdin tries to catch him, but misses. A rope descends next to Aladdin and he grabs it, using it to climb up. He retrieves his dagger on the way up. Aladdin reaches the summit and stops. All of the 40 thieves, now 39, are staring at him with venom in their eyes.
I thought I signed one.
Look, I didn't mean.
Get him.
Take him to the king.
Abu and Iago's cage is shattered open and they are grabbed by the thieves.
Look, I don't even know Aladdin, okay?
Aladdin is pulled along the crowd until he is placed at Cassim's feet.
You killed Saluk. The code of the 40 Thieves is very clear on this point.
A long beat.
You're in.
Hooray! Hooray!
They gather around him happily.
Congratulations, Bob.
You joined the club.
And everybody here agrees.
We got the finest blend of nearly honest men.
Welcome
Welcome
to
to
the
the 40 Thieves. A fraternity of thugs that you can trust.
There's nothing up on any flame.
Got lots of grub to share.
Pull up an easy chair.
Welcome to the
Welcome
40
to the 40 Thieves.
Now you get to lie and cheat.
Now you get to lie and cheat.
Oh my god, you never have to brush your teeth.
Motherfucker's teeth, a break as he smiles. Brush your damn teeth.
But we always
We
aim to
always aim to
please.
Care for one another. You'll never miss your mother.
The thieves put an ice pack on Iago and check his temperature.
I love you guys.
Keeping up a scam out on the lamb.
Taking whatever we please.
And if you like to work, well, we're gonna love this work.
Welcome to the 40 Thieves.
They push Aladdin across the room. Iago tries to sneak over to a large pile of treasure, but the 40 thieves shoo him away, with knives and such. Aladdin stops himself on a rope, the same rope that the rope thief is levitating on. The rope is cut and Aladdin drops to the ground.
Welcome to the 40 Thieves.
Together we're the perfect team.
Aha!
Aha! Larceny is in the genes. Aha! Dare to share the family dream.
Aha!
Iago pops up from amidst the treasure.
Live a life of leisure, counting all your treasure.
The thieves grab Iago and toss him back to Aladdin.
As an honorary member of the gang that no one alive ever leaves.
You gotta snatch and seek, or else your future is bleak.
We got a lifetime contract that you're bound to keep. You want to save your skin, you better fit right in.
Welcome to the
Welcome to the
40
The song finishes with a large flourish. Cassim looks very proud. Exterior 40 Thieves' lair. Moments later, a shark swims through the water. Suddenly, Saluk springs from the water and power bombs that shark to death. He steps into the sandy shore and sets off towards Agrabah. Interior palace. Moments later, Jasmine stands on the balcony overlooking the desert. Genie, fucking massive, leans around the side of the castle to see Jasmine.
Boy, and I thought I was blue.
Genie poofs in next to her.
You know, if Aladdin is in trouble, wouldn't you? I thought he'd be back by now.
Al will be back.
Poof!
Listen to Genie, dear. Genie knows. You got to get your mind off this incessant waiting.
Poof! Interior palace wedding altar continuous. They reappear.
Here's a surefire way to cheer on a bummed out bride to be. A heaping helping of matrimonial magic.
Genie uses his magic to conjure up all sorts of things, from a silverware set to a toaster to a baby carriage. Jasmine goes to touch one of the flowers when Genie pops out as Harpo marks. He hands Jasmine a flower and jumps into her arms. He tries to sneak a kiss before a large cane pulls him from Jasmine's arms. Genie walks back in as Chico marks.
Hey, that's no good. What the wedding need is a theme.
He looks up and is suddenly Groucho.
It needs a groom too, but let's work with what we have.
Genie.
It's a joke! I do that.
Genie shifts into a pompous Frenchman.
Okay, let us see. This will be the second wedding for both of you.
He floats around Jasmine.
I'm thinking we need something a little more simple, a little more elegant, and less gray.
He pulls an elephant from nowhere.
Did it, done it, own it.
The elephant vanishes.
All right, I'm gonna throw some colors at you. Mauve, teal, and salmon.
He slaps down some color swatches into her hands, followed by an actual fish.
What do you like, besides the salmon?
He tosses the salmon away.
Okay, Madonna. Don't keep it. Just put that in the mix. Wink. Okay.
He turns to the throne room in the Vegas version of Agrabah, lots of neon and bright lights.
I see lasers! It's a miracle! He believes! He believes!
He poofs in next to Jasmine.
Thank you very much.
I don't think so.
Genie's hair falls.
Trey Gauche, right?
He makes all the lights vanish.
Maybe you could elope. No, you can't elope. But oh, honeydew!
He produces a melon and throws it a little ways away. Genie blasts it with some magic and turns it into a carriage. Jasmine appears next to it, dressed as Cinderella.
I don't know whether to put it under props or produce.
Jasmine looks closely at the tires.
Don't squeeze the tires, they're not ripe. And how about that gown?
He uses his magic to change the dress again, this time making her look like Snow White.
Whether you're dancing with dwarves or simply biting the apple, it says, I'm a princess for now.
Genie?
He turns back to normal.
Hey, it's synergy! The marketing guys are very excited. It tests really well.
He shows her other possible options, Ariel, Minnie Mouse, and Jessica Rabbit.
Thank you, Genie. I'm sure it will be wonderful.
She plants a thankful kiss on Genie's cheek.
And thanks for cheering me up.
Genie transforms into Bing Crosby.
Well, I'm sure Alibaba and the boys are on the road to Agrabah right now. Isn't that right, Bob?
Genie looks over to himself, also looking like Bob Hope.
That's right, Bing. And how about this town? Is it wild or what? It's like one giant sand trap, me without my wedgie. Hey, let's give a big hand for Brooke Shields.
Weird person to randomly give a hand to Genie, but all right. Interior 40 Thieves' lair. Later, Cassim and Aladdin walk through the catacombs.
I find my son and lose my enemy. You did your old man proud, Aladdin.
I was just trying to stay alive.
Ha! If you didn't fight, you'd have been killed. So says the code of 40 Thieves.
Does this code have any rules that don't end in death?
It's a strict code.
Cassim reaches the end of the hall and stops in front of a large carving of a turtle.
But there is one thing that I added. We never hurt the innocent.
For future reference, I'm as innocent as the day I was hatched.
Cassim pulls a small emblem of a hand off his cloak and slots it into the turtle carving.
My men don't even know about this place.
The wall moves aside and they move inside. Interior secret chamber continuous. Cassim lights a torch.
Listen, boy. There is a treasure. The ultimate treasure. Compared to this, the pharaoh's tomb is a pauper's grave. A sultan's fortune. but nothing but lunch money.
Iago and Abu like the sound of that.
And I am this close to it.
That's tantalizingly close.
But it's on an island that is never the same place twice. The Vanishing Isle.
That would be a problem.
Cassim pulls a small rolled tapestry out of a fucking IKEA cabinet.
I really like IKEA.
What is this ultimate treasure?
IKEA. But also, the big one, boy. The Hand of Midas.
He unrolls the tapestry. It is decorated with the same turtle from the stone wall, and in the center, a large golden hand.
It's just a myth.
It's a
No,
myth?
IKEA's real.
You have a literal genie. You fought in the form of evil incarnate in the form of a cat god on your TV show, but you draw the line at this treasure. Get bent.
Yeah, Bart.
It's not a myth, boy. It's in Burbank.
Cassim lights another torch and pulls aside a curtain.
It was once right here. Look, here's your proof.
In the darkness,
Goodness.
Aladdin can just make out the wreckage of a large ship.
From stem to stem, every piece of rigging, every peg and board, all of it, solid gold.
He's right. The ship is truly solid gold. Woo!
Adopt me, Daddy.
Touched by the hand of Midas.
And sunk by it.
Foreshadowing or simply a throwaway line? Find out before the end of the script.
You don't understand. You don't know what it's like to have nothing, to stare up at the palace and know you deserve more, to be called street rats.
Yes, I do.
I know exactly what I wanted for my family. The best. And some Swedish meatballs. And I couldn't give up. And I couldn't go back empty-handed. And the weeks turned into months. And the months into years. And I come back to Agrabah one night with some Swedish meatballs. But I couldn't find my wife or my son. I thought my family was lost forever. At that moment, I would have traded anything to get your mother back.
Well, we never wanted gold. We wanted you. I wanted a father. I still do. Come to my wedding. This time, you have an invitation.
Whoa, Aladdin, you've known this man for less time than the extended cut of The Return of the King, and now he's coming to the wedding? I mean, I know this has to happen or there's no plot, but damn, that seems fast.
Aladdin, I just don't know.
Dad, I'm not going back to Agrabah until morning. At least think about it.
Aladdin leaves. Iago flies up to Cassim's shoulder.
Aladdin may never understand, but it just wouldn't work. I don't belong in his world.
The Oracle doesn't belong in his world either. It belongs in the hands of two enterprising treasure hunters, you and me.
The Oracle. It's probably just another dead end.
It works. That's how the kid found you. It knows everything.
Everything?
And I know where they stashed it,
Iago, you are a bad influence.
Cassim, we are talking about the wedding of your only son. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
How can I pass it up?
Exterior streets of Agrabah, night. Razoul walks through the streets.
Captain, over here.
Razoul draws his sword. Show yourself!
You're alone. Good.
So, you are the one with the information about the 40 thieves?
What would you say if I handed you the King of Thieves?
I'd say, what's in it for you?
I'll just sleep better knowing that he's off the streets and on the executioner's block.
Everyone knows that the King of Thieves cannot be caught. What miracle do you possess?
2 words that will make Agrabah's greatest hero open sesame.
Interior 40 Thieves' lair the next morning. Aladdin zips around on carpet, kind of like a kid playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Hop on, Dad.
Oh no, it's a rug. You sweep dirt under it. You don't fly on it. At least I don't.
Don't be afraid. It's fun.
I'm not afraid. Now get off the thing before you break your neck. It's from IKEA.
I still trust this carpet with my life.
Aladdin jumps down, carpet landing beside him.
Give him time. He'll come around.
We'll take horses. Horses were good enough for my father and his father before him, and they were always good enough for me.
Exterior Agrabah Desert, later. Cassim apparently has been extolling the virtues of horses for about an hour now.
He sounds like a father. All right.
Exterior 40 Thieves' lair. Razoul and his men ride up on the water entrance of the lair. Whoa! This is the spot, men!
But there's nothing here.
Nothing here.
Oh, sorry.
Now, but watch! Razoul arrives up to the edge of the water. Open caraway! Nothing happens, because Razoul is an idiot.
There's still nothing here.
When I get a hold of that no good.
But I thought you said it was open sesame.
The ground shakes, and the water blasts apart, scaring the horses. Razoul turns back and looks at the entrance with a smirk. Interior palace an hour later. Aladdin walks through with Abu, Iago, Cassim, and Carpet.
Looks like Genie has everything ready.
Genie, you have a genie? Have you used all 3 wishes yet?
Please don't get into it. It's just too painful.
As if on cue, Genie appears.
Al! You're back! And you're front! You're both here!
Genie gives him a big hug.
Oh, that's great, Genie.
Genie releases Aladdin and smiles.
Security's tight. No big crowds. Immediate family only.
Perfect, because this is my...
No lowlifes this time. Other than the parrot, of course. Observe.
Genie pushes a button on the remote control and the castle beeps. A large genified version of the ED-209 from Robocop pops up from a panel on the floor.
You have violated the perimeter of the Aladdin and Jasmine wedding. Prepare to be vaporized. Thank you.
It fire laser bolts over their heads.
Armed and dangerous. I'd like to see one of those 40 thieves give us within an inch of your wedding.
Allow me to introduce
The King of Thieves.
Ah! All units! We look out red!
Genie has multiplied into multiple armored cops.
Go red! Go red!
Walls slam down between all the pillars.
Go red! Go red! Go red! Go red!
Aladdin rubs his head, just waiting for Genie to burn himself out.
Go red! Go red!
Genie runs into every ledge, gun in hand.
Go red! Go red! Go red! Go red! Go red!
They rappel on, gates slam down. There's got to be easily 100 copies of Genie rushing in. A card of the Scottish... Scottish Genies stand ready.
Come on, boys! Follow me!
They all march, bagpipes blaring. Genie, dressed like a cavalryman from the Old West, gestures to his men.
Cavalry, forward!
They all ride in, all chanting. A plane flies above, and soldiers jump out, each Genie. Another one steps up, but it's Genie as Pocahontas.
Pocahontas!
Even more Genie soldiers rush in.
Go red! Go red! Go red! Go red!
They finally seem to have enough, all pointed their guns at Cassim.
Do not attempt to move, or we'll be shooting ourselves.
Aladdin pushes his way through the crowd of genies.
Genie!
Back off, Al. This creep's got a yellow sheet as long as my arm.
Genie, meet my dad.
The genies all look shocked.
Stand down, men. Smoke them if you got them.
They all disappear in a puff of smoke. Genie walks towards Cassim like a tough guy.
If you're Al's dad and the King of Thieves, I just want to know one thing.
Yeah.
Genie transforms into his French host.
Will you be having the chicken or the sea bass?
Come on, Dad. I can't wait for you to meet Jasmine and the Sultan.
Genie appears right in front of Aladdin.
Al, don't you think we might want to lose the Agrabah's most wanted look?
Genie pulls down a wanted poster highlighting Cassim.
What's wrong with the way I look?
When you're here, you're not the King of Thieves. You're my dad.
I had more practice being the King of Thieves.
Genie appears behind Cassim.
Come on, enough of this dark past. Let's roll out something a little new.
Genie pulls the background closed, beginning a new musical number.
It's a big, bright, beautiful future. Thank your lucky stars you're alive.
Cassim surfs in on a path of stars and Genie sings as a consolation.
You got someone special to talk to? A friend that you can trust for life?
Genie throws his arm around Cassim.
You've been on your own with no family ties, but those solo days are done.
Genie pulls open his jacket and presents Cassim with a selection of ties. Genie pulls one and uses it to pull Aladdin in.
You'll be two of a kind, spending quality time together as father and son.
Genie uses himself as a necktie to tie the two together. As Genie sings, a large boat appears.
Building modeled ships.
Genie races by with Cassim riding the back of a large fish.
Taking fishing trips.
Genie flings his hands off and over to Aladdin and Cassim.
Working hand in hand.
The hands poof paint into Cassim's hands and a mower into Aladdin's.
Painting the palace, mowing the sand.
Aladdin and Cassim are suddenly running, playing football.
First and 10 to go with your daddy-o.
Genie breaks the ground from underneath them and they fall into a starscape.
Once you break the ice, you can postulate paternal advice.
They fall past Genie as Albert Einstein. Aladdin and Cassim fall into the rings of the planet, which is also Genie.
Oh, I see you're traveling at the speed of life. That's why it's the theory of relatives.
They fly off the rings and are caught by Genie, who tosses them into the back of a Jetsons-looking flying car.
It's a fine, fantabulous future. I see fruit on the family tree.
Genie drops them in front of a car and they are caught by Genie as a tree.
You'll be great as your grumpy old grandpa. Bouncing babies on your knee.
Genie lays on a big couch and tosses Aladdin a basketball.
You could fall asleep on the comfy couch after playing one-on-one.
Aladdin and Cassim play basketball with Genie, who towers over them.
Dreaming back to back that you wallop the shack together as father and son.
Cassim and Aladdin are suddenly riding in bumper cars.
Maybe a bumpy ride.
We'll make it side by side.
Suddenly their carts are latched together like a roller coaster.
Good afternoon. I'll be your travel guide.
Genie launches them down the track.
Move over, laddie. Make room for daddy.
Genie dances and boogies on Cassim's shoulders.
You got a whole new shoulder to cry on. Take a chance now. Give it a spin.
Genie spins a large gaming wheel. Every option is Aladdin. Genie cuts out a large chain of paper resembling the 40 Thieves.
You've had chums for palling around with.
Genie slaps the paper together and pulls it back, revealing Aladdin.
But you've never had a friend like him.
Genie as Brando in The Godfather sits with Cassim at an Italian restaurant.
Pull your checkered past behind you now. No more living on the run.
A spotlight illuminates Cassim as he runs. Cassim is stopped by a light, and it slowly boxes him into the opening from the Brady Bunch.
Face the big, bright, beautiful future together, 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 together.
Genie pushes the squares together, and poof! Cassim and Aladdin stand in Genie's hands, Cassim in an all-new outfit.
As father and son.
Cassim tussles Aladdin's hair, like parents do. Interior palace throne room. Later, Cassim bows to Jasmine, taking her hand.
Ah, my boy Aladdin must have been born under a lucky star to find to find such a treasure. You are most definitely Aladdin's father.
And I have the DNA to prove it.
It must have been dreadful trapped by the 40 thieves.
Uh-oh.
I try to block out the memories.
Say no more, not another word on the subject.
Yes, let's turn our attention to happier thoughts. The blessed union of our children.
Indeed.
Cassim scoops Sultan up in a big hug.
Poor Genie, they love him.
It was the hat. Nothing does the trick like a smart chapeau.
It's more than that.
To be back amongst civilized people. Back amongst family.
All he needed was a second chance.
It's a miracle.
Interior palace dungeon, same time. The door slams shut on a prison cell.
You pay for this! You sold us out!
The observation door slams.
My nose!
Saluk looks angrily at Razoul.
He's not in there. You didn't capture the king of thieves.
Because he was not at the hideout!
He had to be there. Where else would he be?
A nervous guard enters.
Apologies, Captain Razoul.
What?
What?
The Sultan said he won't be able to send your prisoners until tomorrow.
What's more important than sentencing my prisoners?
Why the wedding? Princess Jasmine and Aladdin are finally getting married.
Aladdin? You didn't capture Aladdin with the others?
Why would he be with the 40 thieves?
Because his father is the king of thieves.
The guards seem shocked. Razoul shakes his head, confirming what he's known all along about Aladdin. Interior palace wedding altar moments later. Sultan paces back and forth, with Jasmine out in the hallway.
Oh.
Me. Where can he be? I do hope nothing's wrong. Perhaps we should dispatch a search party.
Now, Father, I'm sure he's on his way.
Aladdin stands at the other end of the altar.
Where is he?
Genie is suddenly Pumbaa.
Hakuna Matata.
Boom, back to Genie.
Oh, I was having out a movie experience.
Genie leans into Aladdin.
My guess is he wants to make an entrance.
Aladdin doesn't look convinced. Interior palace treasure room, same time. Iago flies up to a small window.
Here's the monkey's lockpicks.
Iago drops them into Cassim's hands.
You know how to use them?
Cassim pushes open the door and makes his way to the oracle's staff.
I promise you, Bird, after this, I go straight.
Razoul pops out from behind a statue. Straight to the dungeon! Iago screams as Cassim draws a sword from the piles of gold. We've been expecting you! A bounty of soldiers train their bows and arrows at Cassim. Cassim relents and throws the sword to Razoul's feet. Interior palace wedding altar, same. Jasmine holds Aladdin.
Do you think something is wrong?
Oh, Genie, can you find him?
I'll sniff him out.
Genie transforms into Pluto.
Ain't a scrap of his clothes or lock of his hair. Or a shoe.
Genie sniffs along the ground until he finds a shoe, still being worn by Cassim.
A shoe's good.
Genie looks up and sees that he's looking at Cassim being
Ah!
Huh?
Razoul, what is the meaning of this?
Your Majesty, meet the King of Thieves.
Dad?
Aladdin tries to jump forward towards him, but is stopped by the guards. We seized him in the treasury. He was after this again. Razoul holds up the staff.
No.
And this is his accomplice. Another guard holds up Iago, shackled in a manacle.
Big misunderstanding. It's a slap on the wrist and community service kind of thing.
Now I know why you really came back.
Cassim looks ashamed.
Your father is the leader of 40 thieves? This is most...
Sultan sputters, not sure how to even get the words out.
Father, are you crapping? Are you okay? Aladdin? Did you know?
Thought I could change him. I had to try.
You can change my clothes, Aladdin. You can't change who I am.
And the law is crystal clear on what we must do now.
Father, isn't there another way?
Oh, I'm afraid there's not. Take the prisoner to the dungeon. Dungeon? For life! Life!
Another manacle is attached to Iago's beak. Razoul hauls Cassim out of the room. Genie turns to Aladdin.
There's some wishes even I can't make come true.
Interior Aladdin's old house, night. Aladdin sits on the ground with Abu, Carpet, and Genie, trying to think of options.
The Oracle was right. My dad was trapped in the world of 40 thieves, trapped by his own greed. So stupid to think I could change him.
Hey, trying to show him a better life wasn't stupid, Al. Leaving him alone with the parrot, that was stupid.
Everything was perfect before he came into my life. Just when things the way they were.
Aladdin has thought.
Genie, I need my father's clothes.
Al, would you wrap the turban too tight? Come on! Why you want to dress in the King of Thieves ensemble?
Genie poofs in the outfit and Aladdin grabs it.
Might I suggest something that doesn't actually say, arrest me?
It fits. Good.
Aladdin turns, looking like the spitting image of his dad.
I'm seeing nothing for your future if you dress like this.
I'm breaking my father out of that dungeon. The guards will never know I was there. Tonight, the King of Thieves will make the most miraculous escape ever. Out of my life.
It's the cape talking, isn't it?
Interior palace dungeon later. Cassim sits chained to a wall, as does Iago, who's still muzzled. Interior palace dungeon halls continuous. The guards walk through the halls.
So, since he's been captured, the King of Thieves, there's no living with Razoul.
Aladdin sneaks up behind the two guards.
Well, it wasn't exactly easy living with him before.
Aladdin grabs the keys off their sash and disappears. The portly guard turns around but sees nothing. Interior palace dungeon moments later. The door unlocks.
Who?
Aladdin steps out of the shadows.
Come to say goodbye.
Why are you?
Aladdin unlocks his shackles.
We don't have much time. While the guards chase me, you get out.
I can't let you.
Forget it. They can't catch me.
Aladdin pulls up the mask and runs off, tossing the keys to Cassim.
Ow! Ah! Even sounds like me.
Interior palace dungeon guard station moments later. Razoul stands in front of the mirror, combing his hair. When the Sultan gives me my due, I'll put in a good word for you. The little people who... Razoul sees Aladdin reflected in the mirror behind him, still dressed as the King of Thieves. It can't be! Razoul turns, but Aladdin is gone. Razoul runs into the hallway, but misses Aladdin hanging from the ceiling. He was here! I know it! Aladdin jumps down and lands on Razoul's head. He flips off the other guards' heads and lands, making sure they all see him.
The King of Thieves!
No man could have escaped that cell.
He isn't a man, I say. He's a demon.
Aladdin turns and runs. I want him dead or alive! Exterior streets of Agrabah, night. The guards run through the streets, swords drawn. Surround the block. He's close. I can feel it. Aladdin listens from just around the corner.
Well, which way did he go?
I don't see him.
Look over there, hurry!
Aladdin vaults up onto a basket and climbs. The guards enter the area and glance up, catching a look of Aladdin.
There! The King of Thieves is on the roof!
Get up there! Now! 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 Aladdin runs across the rooftops. Exterior Agrabah rooftops continuous. The guards hoist themselves onto the roof.
Found him!
Aladdin simply falls backwards off the roof.
I lost him.
Aladdin lands on an awning and bounces onto a tapestry across the street, pulling himself upwards.
Which way did he go?
I think I heard him over there. Over there!
There!
Aladdin finishes his climb into the palace walls. He jumps off the small walkway, but his foot is caught in midair and he tumbles toward the ground. Gotcha! Aladdin groans as he gets his bearings. Razoul stands over him, sword drawn. The King of Thieves, your charmed life is over, your majesty. Razoul swings at Aladdin but misses, his blade catching the cloak. It tears and Aladdin's disguise is gone. You! Aladdin stands defiant.
Yes.
Razoul grabs Aladdin and pulls him close. Well, I guess I'll have to settle for the Prince of Thieves. We shall see if the Sultan wants you in the family now. Cassim tackles Razoul to the ground, and Razoul loses consciousness.
Keep your hands off my son.
Dad?
Hurry, son, we must move.
Cassim grabs Aladdin, and they run off. Exterior Agrabah city gates moments later. They ride their horses out of the gate with the guards chasing behind them. Exterior Agrabah desert continuous. The horses come to a stop.
Did we lose him?
I don't know, but I did lose my lunch back there.
They won't be able to pick up our trail till daylight. By then we'll be long gone from Agrabah.
Aladdin looks longingly back at the city.
I'm sorry for what you lost, son, but you can't go back now. You know that.
Aladdin steps down from his horse.
What are you doing?
I'm not going with you. I can't.
Well, you can't go back. The moment they saw your face, your life in Agrabah was over.
I have to go back. Jasmine is there.
Kid, it's over. You're a criminal now.
I won't do what he did. I won't run away.
I never ran away from anything in my life.
You ran away from your family.
I told you what happened. What else could I do? What else can you do?
The right thing.
Aladdin tosses his dagger to Cassim's feet.
You should take this back.
You can't.
I won't walk out on Jasmine.
Cassim looks from the dagger to the departing Aladdin.
Aladdin.
I'm your son, but I can't live your life.
Ow, they lock you up.
If there's a punishment, I'll take it.
So be it.
We have the Oracle. The treasure's just waiting for us.
The Oracle?
I had nothing left to lose.
Yes, you did.
Aladdin rides off.
It was supposed to be a father-son outing.
Aladdin picks Iago up off the horse.
Go with him, Iago.
What? You mean it? Really?
Go.
Good luck, kid.
Iago salutes and flies off. Aladdin turns and rides back towards Agrabah. Cassim and Iago ride off. Interior 40 Thieves' lair later.
From 40 thieves down to 7. What are we to do?
How did they find us? How did they learn the magic words?
The torches around them flutter. The thieves all look around nervously.
Another raid.
Not again.
Isn't a good day to die.
The doors to the cave close.
Or to come back from the dead.
Saluk?
You're alive? I'm a survivor like all of you, no thanks to Cassim.
The king?
You saw him?
What does he want us to do now?
He wants you to rot in the palace dungeon. The king of thieves is loyal in the end.
Luke pushes over the trio sack.
Pushovers. Ouch. He betrayed you, sold you out.
Well, you've always hated the king. Why should we believe you?
How do you think the guard got the magic words?
He told them the magic words?
I don't believe it.
Me either.
You've forgotten what life was like before, Cassim.
Music swells as the men start to walk away.
I remember a time crime was sublime. There was plenty of loot in the lair. We'd plunder and pillage and ransack a village with nary a warrior care.
So Luke walks up to a large tapestry of Cassim.
Then along came this king with his soft-hearted dream, but he routed us out in the end. So rally the troops where we meant to regroup and return to our roots once again.
The thieves throw blades at him, but Luke catches them all in a large club.
Are you in or out? Gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best, success is guaranteed.
The men try to fight Saluk, but they are no match.
Are you men or mice? Take a slice of my advice. You want a fearless leader? Oh, that's a strong and snout. Better vote for me. Are you in or out?
The thieves pick themselves back up and start thinking about what Saluk is telling them.
We used to be smart.
Yes, horrendously heartless. In a ravaging raid, we were rough.
Bad that Cassim brought this sensitive stuff.
And we strayed from our path of our rigorous wrath.
Yeah, we're taking a bath in the dust.
Though we reclaim our winnings, our humble beginnings, in turmoil and torture we trust.
Are you in or out?
Double crossers or devote. Put your faith in me. Pretty soon you'll see. I'm the Prince of Generosity. Are you foe or friends? Here's the path I recommend. You want to ride to fame? I've got the fastest route. What's it gonna be? Are you in or out?
We'll go robbing in all the right places.
From Agrabah dunes to Paris.
Imagine the fear on their faces.
When we drop by for cookies and tea.
Come along, boys, follow me. Are you in or out? If you're with me, give me a shout.
Yeah!
Yeah! I'll lead you all the way into the glory days.
We'll begin with a laugh of crime that pays.
Are you in? Are you out or in? Make your choice now, sink or swim. You can stick with me or stay behind and pout.
What's it gonna be?
Consider carefully. Or
Are
you
you in
or
out?
Exterior 40 Thieves' lair later. Iago flies with Cassim towards the back entrance.
I know treasure's limitless, but I'm not crazy about a 40-way split. If it was just you and me,
I would never cut my men out of the deal. They're my family, my only family. I can always count on them.
Interior 40 Thieves' lair moments later. Cassim enters.
I'm home.
The remaining 40 thieves descend from the shadows, weapons drawn. Cassim and Iago are shortly surrounded.
why don't they look happy to see you?
So Luke pushes his way toward the front of the group.
We are all thrilled.
So Luke flashes his claws. Exterior 40 Thieves ship later. The remaining thieves ride across the waves, Cassim and Iago tied to the mast.
Hurry, little friend.
I'm wriggling. I am growing impatient, Cassim. Ask the question.
Beefy holds the oracle's staff towards him.
We must be...
Just a little further.
Further out to sea.
No, ask it now.
Iago manages to get both wings free of the ropes.
Now's good.
Where can we find the hand of Midas?
The staff grows brightly. It launches a beacon of light into the air, and the oracle appears as Iago manages to free himself of the ropes. The Vanishing Isle will appear at dawn. I will show you the way. She collapses herself into a ball of light and flies across the ocean.
There's your setting, Captain.
The thieves take off after the light as Iago flies back to Agrabah. Interior palace throne room moments later. The Sultan stands with Razoul, scolding Aladdin.
Frankly, my boy, I don't give a damn about your actions. We're most disappointing.
It is tragic, your highness, but this street rat has obviously followed in his father's footsteps. Aladdin is a criminal. Genie materializes next to Aladdin and Jasmine. He transformed the Sultan Razoul into a judge and bailiff.
I object, Your Honor. I object to that outrageous statement, and I object to a tertiary character having any lines during my big courtroom scene.
Genie hands Razoul a bag.
Here, take this to a higher court.
Genie blasts Razoul's feet and sends him flying off the rooftop. Maybe murdering him? I'll be honest, I don't remember seeing Razoul in the rest of this thing, so Genie may have just killed a man?
Your Honor, if I may enter a plea of insanity, because I'm just crazy about this kid.
Genie laughs and tussles Aladdin's hair. Aladdin shoves him off.
Genie, I can handle this myself.
Aladdin walks up to the Sultan.
Sultan, I convinced my dad to come here. It was my fault. I would have been better off if I had never known him.
Aladdin, you found your father, a father who risked his freedom to see your wedding. You risked everything to help him, just as I would for my father.
These words sit with the Sultan.
Your father, yes. Well, Aladdin, I could not overlook your father's crimes. But what you have done, well, you did it out of love, and you came back to take responsibility for your actions. Let us put this matter behind us. I believe we have postponed the wedding long enough.
Genie applauds and conjures up two massive hands to cheer for the Sultan.
Good call. Okay, let's give a big hand for the wise and generous Sultan. Yes.
The happiness is interrupted by Iago screaming. Iago plummets toward the balcony, caught in the last minute by carpet.
Owl's dead. Salute.
Just take a deep breath, Iago. Now what about Aladdin's father?
It's Salute. The guy Al beat. He's not beat. He's back, and he's got Cassim.
Well, that's his problem. He chose to go back to that life.
Al, look, I know your dad made a lot of bad choices, but that doesn't mean you have to.
He is your father. How can you do anything else?
Aladdin steps away for a beat before realizing.
Being as stubborn as he was.
Aladdin turns back to them.
Show me the way.
Iago sighs and falls back into Genie's arms. Exterior 40 Thieves ship, morning. The ship arrives at a large column of light. The thieves look on in awe. Aladdin and Jasmine fly along a carpet towards the beacon. You have arrived.
Thank you, Siri.
With that, the oracle vanishes. The sea starts churning and thrashing.
Help!
Where is it?
I see nothing.
Nothing but fog.
Saluk threatens Cassim with his blades.
I've had enough of your trickery.
No, this is it, the Vanishing Isle. Watch.
The wind picks up and the boat shakes. After a moment or two, a large tower emerges from the water. The men gasp in shock. The tower keeps rising, becoming almost a small city on the water. As it rises, the ship is caught on one of the hills and is lifted from the water. On the front of the city emerges a large turtle head. Aladdin and Jasmine gasp as they see this marvel.
The Vanishing Isle.
The back of a giant turtle.
And never in the same place twice. Let's get closer.
Carpet flies them in. Exterior Vanishing Isle moments later. The thieves push Cassim along. Genie parachutes down to the walkway.
Time to rock and roll, dude!
The thieves hit the ground as Genie starts shooting, but because it's a Disney movie, he only shoots lasers. Suluk grabs Cassim to find another way inside. The thieves rise as Jasmine stands ready with Abu and Carpet. They smile and charge. Jasmine gestures to Carpet, who rolls himself up and flies into the legs of the thieves, knocking them to the ground. Jasmine rushes into the midst of them, fighting the thieves off. Abu and Carpet also seem to be holding their own. Genie poofs next to a few of the thieves.
Now I am here.
He poofs to the other side of them.
I am here.
Turns out Genie was a distraction because Jasmine pushes over a large hawk statue and crushes the men to death. Beefy turns as he is overshadowed by an even larger figure. He sees the shadow belonging to Genie, looking like a beefy truck driver.
How about a packet of Nutty Buddies?
Genie uses his large belly to launch the beefy thief away. Aladdin sees Suluk pushing Cassim along.
Genie, we need a distraction.
Survey says, show me turtle!
Genie flies over to the turtle's nose and starts going at it like a pro wrestler.
Boom! I'm gonna fake blow to the head. Boom!
Genie commentates from the sidelines.
Oh no, he's got him in the half Nelson. Not him with full Nelson. Oh no, it's the dreaded Aussie Nelson.
Genie steps through a random doorway.
Rick, boys, maybe you want to come over here and see what's happening?
Genie, back to commentator mode, floats to his table in the turtle's mouth.
He's coming in quick. Oh no, he's up, he's down, and now he's actually inside the turtle. Well, we'll be right back after this brief message.
The turtle's mouth slams shut. After a beat,
Diggle, diggle, diggle.
the turtle's eyes grow wide. The Vanishing Isle shakes. Aladdin jumps down off of his hiding spot and lands on Suluk.
It took me years to find my father. I'm not losing him again.
Suluk rises and Aladdin brings his fists up into Suluk's chin. Knocking him backwards down a flight of stairs, Aladdin unties Cassim.
You came to help me?
How could I do anything else?
Cassim seems genuinely touched by this.
Now let's get that treasure of yours.
Interior Vanishing Isle. Moments later, Aladdin and Cassim walk into a large chamber.
Amazing.
In the center of the room floats a large golden hand.
There.
The turtle groans and the isle shakes once again. Aladdin and Cassim are knocked off their feet.
Feels like Genie got carried away.
No, it's the Vanishing Isle. The turtle is diving. We must climb higher.
The hallway they just used to get in suddenly floods with water. Aladdin rushes after Cassim as they climb up towards the hand. Exterior Vanishing Isle, same time. Suluk wakes up, the water splashing against his face. He hears them inside.
We're almost there, don't you see, Aladdin? We're meant to do this together. Come on!
Suluk smiles and heads in after them. Interior Vanishing Isle, moments later. Water starts to rush from the mouths of the large hawk statues. Cassim walks to the top of one of their heads and looks over at the large floating hand. In the middle of the floating hand is a stone statue with a smaller golden hand held up to face them. Tears well up in Cassim's eyes.
Sorry. Little teary-eyed. Pity I didn't find this place years ago.
He backs up, readying himself to make the jump.
This would be much easier if I were much younger and not sick.
Before he can take a step, Aladdin jumps across the gap.
Aladdin!
Aladdin barely grabs the edge of his hand, its smooth surface not giving him much grip. After a moment of struggle, he manages to pull himself onto it. Aladdin turns back to Cassim.
See? It pays to have a junior partner.
Be careful. Don't touch the golden hand.
Aladdin grabs the statue's golden hand by the wooden wrist and pulls it free. He turns to Cassim.
Heads up!
Aladdin throws the hand to Cassim, a risky move, to say the least. Cassim realizes this in midair and uses the cloak to catch the hand. As soon as it touches the fabric, the cloak transforms into solid gold. Cassim laughs joyously.
The hand of Midas!
Cassim bends down and puts the hand to the statue's head, and the power courses through it. After a moment, the statue turns gold, followed by the water and everything else in the room. More water begins to tear through the walls.
I didn't think there was anything better than IKEA, Aladdin. Time to go.
So Luke jumps down from above and lands on the floating hand with Aladdin.
No. Give the hand of Midas to me, Cassim, or your son dies.
Sir Luke, your battle is with me.
Don't worry, Dad. I can take him alone.
But you're not alone. Not anymore.
Cassim looks down at the hand of Midas in his grip.
You want the hand of Midas, Sir Luke? Take it.
Cassim throws the hand through the air. It flips over and over as it flies through the air. Luke pushes Aladdin out of his way as he reaches for the hand.
The hand of Midas is mine.
Luke holds it up in the air triumphantly.
And also the life of your bride.
Cassim just stares him down. Luke turns back to Aladdin, who stares at him aghast.
We stare.
Luke has caught the hand of Midas and the gold, and now its power is changing him.
No!
Luke is transformed to solid gold and falls off the floating hand. He sinks through the water and connects to the ground with a dull thud. Aladdin tears off his sleeve and wraps it around the hand of Midas, ensuring he doesn't suffer the same fate. The wrap turns gold.
Hurry, son, we're running out of time.
The water has reached the floating hand, so Aladdin simply jumps into the water and swims to Cassim. They continue to climb higher, trying to get away from the water, but Cassim is slowing down.
Come on, Dad, you can do it.
Yes, but it would be a lot easier without this.
Cassim detaches his golden cape and lets it crash to the water below. Exterior Vanishing Isle moments later. Aladdin and Cassim pull themselves onto the roof and smell the sweet sea air. Aladdin holds the hand of Midas to Cassim.
After all these years, you finally have your treasure.
This thing? No. This wretched thing almost cost me the ultimate treasure. It's you, son. You are my ultimate treasure.
An embrace and a big hug.
I'm just sorry it took me this long to realize it. The hand of Midas can take its curse to the bottom of the IKEA discount assets section.
Cassim winds up and launches the hand of Midas over the wall and toward the sea below. Exterior 40 Thieves ship continuous. The hand lands with a thud on the deck of the ship. The hand quickly turns the whole ship to gold. Beefy looks down at the gold rope in his hands.
It's gold. It turned everything to solid gold.
Water starts rushing over the sides of the ship.
We were thinking.
They all scurry around as the heavy golden ship begins to sink below the waves. Exterior Vanishing Isle continuous. Aladdin and Cassim see water coming up after them. Jasmine sits with Iago and Abu on the tower, trying to avoid the sinking.
I didn't see where they went, and they could be anywhere.
Jasmine looks up and sees them on the roof.
There they are.
Aladdin and Cassim jump from the roof as the water cascades up behind them.
Get up here. Oh.
Dad?
Get up here, you blasted rug.
Hermit flies up towards them, catching the pair out of the air.
You actually trust this thing?
With my life, son.
Aladdin grabs Jasmine, Iago, and Abu. They fly around looking down at the sinking tower.
Genie!
The turtle head pops back up and the mouth opens. Genie floats out on a little boat, just like Steamboat Willie. The turtle vanishes once again below the waves.
It's disturbing.
Genie!
Poof! Genie appears next to them.
Present.
Yeah, let's go home. We have some unfinished business.
Interior palace wedding altar the next night. Aladdin and Jasmine step toward each other, surrounded by candles. After a long beat, they kiss. Everyone celebrates. Genie throws magical fireworks into the air as Aladdin and Jasmine leave the altar.
Yes! Oh my god!
Abu and Carpet high five. Sultan hugs Aladdin. Genie, fighting off tears and losing, reaches for Carpet, who has learned from the last time, and hands Genie a tissue. Raja walks with Aladdin and Jasmine, holding her train. Aladdin looks off to the side and sees Cassim standing with Iago. Cassim silently nods.
Out in the open, no mask. Pretty risky, if you ask me.
Even a wanted man can risk it a bit to see his own son's wedding.
Cassim mounts his horse. Iago flies onto his shoulder.
So, you little turkey, come to say goodbye?
I already said my goodbyes, of course. The monkey had to cry, and that got me going.
You're not gonna live in the palace?
With the newlyweds, it'll be all lovey-dovey. It'd be just as soon as keep my will to live.
Well, I don't know where I'm going. Maybe Sweden, home of IKEA. But you are welcome to come along for the ride.
You're a good guy, Cassim, but I'm gonna stay in Burbank. Not too good.
Iago and Cassim ride off into the desert. Exterior Agrabah Palace gates, night. Aladdin and Jasmine walk down the stairs, Jasmine tossing her bouquet.
So it was short and sweet. They were wed down the street. May the marriage be truly blessed.
Genie poofs in front of Razoul, and the bouquet falls into the group of them. When Genie departs, Razoul is holding the bouquet, looking confused. Aladdin and Jasmine smile as their faces become. Exterior streets of Agrabah, later. The shopkeeper from the beginning of the first movie holds up the Aladdin and Jasmine decorative plate.
Happy end to the tale, and tomorrow's a sale, so I'd better go home and rest.
Aladdin and Jasmine fly by, and the shopkeeper unrolls a rug and tries to make a sale.
Here's a kiss and a hug. Sure you don't need a rug? I assure you the price is right.
Aladdin shakes his head no.
Well, salam, worthy friends. Come back soon. That's the end.
Aladdin and Jasmine fly out of Agrabah over the desert where Cassim and Iago ride.
Till another Arabian night.
Cassim rears back his horse and they take off. Aladdin pulls Jasmine close and flexes his eyebrows evilly. She smiles and they kiss. As the credits roll, we see Genie stuck in the title crawl. After they finish, he pops up.
Wait a minute. We're not getting out of here, man. We're not getting out of here. You don't understand, man? This is it. It's game over, man.
Genie smiles before poofing away. Snap to black. The end.
See, when I'm not blue, I'm just the weird naked guy. This is weird. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us for this one. Had a ton of fun. Hope you've enjoyed watching, and I will see you at the next one.